What's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon Kindle and Create Space. Link will be in the description box below as usual. Go get it. PayPal link there also. They asked me to put it up, so I put it up. Thank you everybody for supporting. But this video is entitled Taking Advantage of the Youth. Um, a lot of times, people think the youth can be the next leaders of society, and they look at it in this altruistic sense of, say, the civil rights movement, where people think, it was the youth that was pushing the civil rights movement. Well, the youth were the face of the civil rights movement. It was the adults and the elderly who were actually pushing the civil rights movement. You know, they made young people the face of it. That's Martin Luther King was actually great leader, but he was voted in by elders to be the face of it. He wasn't just it wasn't like he just rose through the ranks through prominence. He was a reverend who was a son of a reverend who was involved, was it SCLC, so it was an organization that came to a consensus. And this is the problem with people forgetting history. The same thing with Malcolm X. Malcolm X was appointed, put in a position by an elder. That's how he got there. That's how Louis Farrakhan got there. He was put in a position by an elder. When you look at the nation, there's an elder leader and there's a bunch of younger guys that they were appointed. They were up and coming. So it's not like these guys are just, to a degree they're self-made, but to a degree they're also vetted. You know what I'm saying? And and I'm using that as a reference to say people forget that. And what winds up happening is they just let people who are young believe that, you're just a born leader and you haven't been groomed, which is dangerous. Because what you see normally is experienced people who are usually older, who know a whole system, a whole network, know the ins and out of something, use people's youth and an experience against them because they're not grooming them for the game that is being played. They're grooming them as a pawn to get used in the game that they're playing. And that's different from the society that we speak of in the past to a degree. Even let's use this on a young street level. There are guys who say they were in the streets when they were young. They're not telling you that the older guys were using them. They weren't teaching them, they were using them. They were crash dummies. They're not telling you that the runs that they were making, it wasn't just a business run. It was, this kid's young. If they get popped, they don't know the system. All I need to tell them is, don't snitch. They'll go to jail. They're not really getting nothing when they come out, if they come out, or they'll go to juvie. They start ruining their lives, and they use these youth. And see, the youth wind up, not being unemployable and having resentment toward these older guys because, they got taken advantage of. And it forced them to be in the same underworld that not some of them just can't get out of, or that destroyed their lives because they couldn't figure out a way to get around their past. And some of them wind up preying on the youth after that. So you don't think about it when I look at it. And this video was inspired because I was looking at I think it was Time magazine, where they had the women who are in Congress or the representatives now, but the cover of the magazine had them looking like they were like in front of the Congress together, smiling, taking a selfie. And in my opinion, I was like, you really did, y'all didn't make this, they didn't make that cover, but it signals what we think is our normal reality. You got people who are new to the game, that they feel like they're young, bringing in young life, young energy. And while these people are in Congress making deals, they're outside enjoying the moment, still taking selfies. They have no idea, what's actually going on in the building yet. So while they're still in the honeymoon phase, these older people and these elders are taking advantage of their youth. They're not. People are not taking people under their wings like an apprentice or as a mentor, and saying, "Look, these are the pros and the cons. These are the opportunities that you can capitalize on. These are the pitfalls." They're just letting the youth go in there and make mistakes and clean it up. And I've seen this in life. I've seen this even on my own job, where you got older people who befriend younger people to use them. And then the fallout ensues, and then they play victim because they're older people, and then they hide behind being elders, and they know the system, and they know the game, and then they know how to, they know how to play dumb in public and be smart behind closed doors and throw you under the bus. And then you find out, and you react like a young person with youthful energy is like, oh, we got problems. And then, oh no, I'm old. They do that. And you don't really recognize that you're getting played. And, this is the same thing that I talked about maybe earlier in the week when I was talking about there's still a culture of older men dating younger women. And now there's a culture of older women trying to date younger men. Part of it is a financial exchange versus a sexual exchange or a social exchange or whatever. And that's what you call fair exchange, because two people mutually know what's going on, because they're both groomed in a sense to take advantage of each other. It's a pimp trick relation, not trick John relationship. Both ways, That's what part of being a cougar and a MILF is from that dynamic, so you know what's going on. But what's going on now is, I see so many times where they have young people talking and taking stances, and you're like, I wish you wouldn't have said that. But they don't have older people around them to tell them, look, I know you feel like you're in a position of a leader. You put yourself up as a leader. The youth probably propped you up as a leader. But what you're saying right now is detrimental, because older people are taking advantage of you. It's like there's no older people around sometimes. Like, how can they be? Because they know your position is flawed, and they know they can capitalize on your flawed position. Because part of these, even as a black man, part of the pro-black stance, part of the even sometimes the red pill stance, part of the feminist stance, part of the MGTOW stance. Every stance has a flaw in it that when young people gravitate to it, they don't see the flaws. So they go out spewing rhetoric, and they go too far. And there's not older people to reel them back in and say, hey, wait. Look, if you do this, if you say this now, over time, these things are going to happen, and it can change your position. So if you want to put yourself out as this, that's fine. And even when you look at it currently in society, this is how you get people a lot of times to get looked at as hypocrites, because when you're young, you don't realize you box yourself in to not grow, and you don't give and you're not giving yourself that caveat that an older person will tell you, look, take that stance, but let it be known that you're still growing and evolving. Instead of people just saying, I am a this, I am that, because that's a definite, that's a finite thing. When you say I am a this, right, it comes with a definition. And then people get older, and then they try to backpedal out of what they say they once were. They try to backpedal out of what they say that they once were. And now they want to work in the nuance. But the problem is they become opportunists. So this is how people wind up taking advantage of the youth, because they know this going into the situation, and they either won't tell you, or they'll take advantage of the mistakes you make because you may be too polarizing, or they'll take advantages of the mistake you make and be the cleanup crew for pay, or they take advantage of the mistakes you make knowingly to prolong their run, because they're always there as an antithesis to what they're gonna make they're gonna make you look confused to a degree where this is why you never see older guys passing down the torch, because they still want the spotlight so much, and they didn't groom anybody and mentor anybody and have anybody as an apprentice, so they letting everybody make these mistakes, and they're taking advantage of your mistakes, because as long as you are vacillating, it looks bad, and as long as you're looking bad, they can keep eating. Business is booming. I keep stealing Antonio Brown quotes, so I'm done. All right, y'all have a good one. Peace.